Welcome back. We are back with Peter Schweitzer, the president of the Government Accountability Institute, as we talk about all of the alleged money and deals that Hunter Biden did with officials across the world, particularly in China, Russia, and Ukraine. Peter was showing the business deals that includes a $3.5 million check from the former mayor of Moscow's wife. Give us your take on the FBI and the Department of Justice's investigation right now into all of this. Is the FBI investigating Hunter Biden, and could that happen while Joe Biden is president?
Yeah, in fact, I think this New York Times piece, the fact that they got cooperation from Team Biden and probably from the Hunter Biden legal team, is an indication to me they are extremely concerned that he is going to be indicted. This grand jury's been meeting since 2018. They were suspended during COVID because of health care protocols. It's back up and running, and it's very clear that when it comes to the issues related to tax evasion and money laundering and the other issues wrapped up with it, they're extremely concerned that Hunter Biden's going to be indicted. And I think this article is an effort to frame that conversation in a way that could be the most favorable to them.
The Hunter Biden laptop is the key to unlocking the crimes inside of the Biden crime family. They've been locked away inside that laptop. It's why they don't want you to talk about it. It's why they want you to talk about literally anything else. It's why they colluded to get you to not hear about it. It's why they colluded with scum inside of our intelligence community, inside of our corporate media, to silence you from hearing about it. They wanted to rig your knowledge base and prevent you from understanding precisely how corrupt your leadership and elites are in this country. Well, guess what? They don't control this show. They don't control what we talk about. I listen to you, The Benny Show, and welcome to The Benny Show, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Happy Thursday morning. I listen to the people who email me, who write in the comment section, who are in the super chats, who are sending stars. I listen to the people who drop into the comment section. And you know what everyone of our audience wants to hear about is the Hunter Biden laptop and what is inside of it. That's what you want to know about. Now, Ketanji Brown Jackson is a big deal, and that Supreme Court hearing for that nomination is ongoing right now. Ketanji Brown Jackson, we will do a special on again this evening, bringing you all of the latest from the Supreme Court. But it is very important for us to relay to you that you are in charge of this program. You are in control of what we talk about. We will put our journalistic merit and shoulders to the door and the wheel of what you wish to hear about. And the Hunter Biden laptop story is something they don't want us to talk about. And that means we are going to expose this morning the 8 crimes inside of that laptop that could wind up bringing down the Biden crime family. It could lead to Joe Biden's impeachment, and Republicans are already setting the stage for mass investigations on that front. Republicans are setting the stage to bring down this criminal organization. Godspeed to all of them. So that's why we're going to cover it today. We went in depth in our research, and we are very, very excited to bring you the 8 scandals hidden in this laptop that has now been verified 100% to be authentic and true, and we're going to talk about it this morning. And the number one person who does not want us to talk about it is Joe Biden. That's why Joe Biden, knowing full damn well that this laptop was real, that he was engaged in criminal activity with his son Hunter around the globe, that the enterprise of pay to play, selling access to your tax dollars, leveraging the American tax base and the American government dollar for their own corrupt interests in places like Ukraine and China, Joe Biden wanted you to know that this was Russian disinformation. Joe Biden lied to you. Joe Biden effectively told you a lie time and time again. Now, he's done this his entire career, but this is without question the most egregious. Joe Biden has lied about his education. Joe Biden has lied in his speeches. He's plagiarized like half his speeches. Joe Biden is a liar. But this is the most damaging lie he's ever told, because this was Joe Biden attempting to rig an election. Joe Biden didn't want you to know this information, so he repeated ad nauseum the lies that you are not allowed to see this laptop because it's Russian disinformation, knowing full damn well that it was real and that it would destroy him. Listen.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's the last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
The reason that you face your accuser in a court of law in America is because people do strange things when they're guilty. When somebody is guilty of something, they behave oddly. They start to snap, bristle, get sweaty. The classic images of a man inside of an interrogation room with a hot light on him, sweating bullets because they know that he's going to cop to the crime. That's why people who are guilty behave in such obnoxious and obscene and downright creepy ways. You snap when you are trying to hide something. It's in our nature. It's also why if somebody accuses me of something I'm not guilty of, let's say, Benny, you're a serial arsonist, I would be like, oh, okay, we didn't start the fire. Like, I wouldn't, what do you mean I'm a serial arsonist? What are you talking about? Of course I don't do that. I don't run around my neighborhood setting fires. That's insane. There's no evidence of that, and I don't do it. So what are you talking about? I wouldn't snap and, like, freak out and come after you for saying that. It's like I would laugh in your face because I'm not guilty of it. When a guilty person is brought before a group of people, a jury, or in public, and their crimes are laid bare, they behave in insane ways. They snap. There's something inside the human spirit that won't allow them to continue to seethe and lie. And the first crime that we're going to uncover on Hunter Biden's laptop is the crimes that the Biden families were committing in Ukraine. Now, we want to preface these crimes by stating right now that we are totally against what's happening in Ukraine. I mean, how connected are they? We're not national security experts, but we want someone to investigate it, and we're very happy that it's being investigated. The Biden family was extremely corrupt in Ukraine. Hunter Biden collected bags of millions of dollars from Ukrainian gas companies inside of Ukraine, gas companies called Burisma. These are well documented inside of his laptop, and they have been reported out numerous times in the press. This relationship was true. It was real in spite of not speaking Ukrainian or being any expert in gas. So why the hell is Hunter Biden on the board of a Ukrainian gas company? Well, Joe Biden was actually asked this on the campaign trail. Now, we dug up this footage from 2.5 years ago. It's very old footage. This is from the Iowa caucuses. We dug up this footage because we wanted you, as the conscientious, viewing, smart, intelligent, educated American public, to watch this based on the information that we know now and ask yourself, is Joe Biden behaving like a guilty person or an innocent person when called on these accusations? Have a watch with fresh eyes.
Has been messing around in Ukraine over there. But you, on the other hand, sent your son over there. You're selling access to the president just like he was. So
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No one has proved that? No. You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
Okay, he not only calls the man fat and challenges him to a push-up competition, but then he calls him a damned liar. A little weird to do. Anyone will tell you that that's not the way you should treat the voting public, especially in the Iowa caucuses, of which Joe Biden lost miserably. Joe Biden came in like 5th or 6th in the Iowa caucuses. Guys, this is very poor performance, and it shows a man who's hiding something. Even someone as mentally challenged as Joe Biden knows better than to talk about and ridicule some voters' weight inside of the all-important state of Iowa, and then to start challenging people to push up competitions on the campaign trail. So what does that blend itself into? Why would he behave in such a strange manner? Well, I think the answers are hidden inside of Hunter Biden's laptop. And for those answers, we check in on our friends at The Federalist, who had a wonderful piece about this exact topic. Let us read. The most obvious scandal bared by the emails inside of Hunter Biden's laptop and his personal text messages contained on the laptop are the concerns of influence profiteering Joe Biden apparently participated in during his 8 years as Barack Obama's vice president, specifically with Ukraine, featuring a heavy pay-to-play scheme. New York Times, in its Get Ahead of the Story coverage last week, attempting to frame this story positively for the Biden family, which is corporate media's only job to act as the wrap-up smear experts for Democrats. They touched on the Ukraine angle by noting that Hunter's connection to Burisma and quoting his emails recovered from the laptop indicating that the younger Biden leveraged his dad's position as vice president, but the Times surfaced coverage of the Burisma scandal doesn't nearly suffice. The surface says that the Times made no mention of Hunter's appointment to the Burisma Holdings Board of Directors at its reported salary of $50,000 a month during his dad's time as vice president. Hunter Biden had no experience and energy, so a deep dive on the entire Biden-Burisma connection is absolutely the first step. The article goes on to say that the pay-for-play was made and exposed to the American public through Joe Biden's accusations or quid pro quo, as you may be familiar with the term. It's what they got Donald Trump or accused Donald Trump for doing in Ukraine. Well, you have on tape Joe Biden stating that the prosecutor who was looking into the company that was paying his son a lot of money had to be fired or else he's going to withhold taxpayer dollars. Joe Biden bragged about it. He said, son of a bee, they fired the prosecutor. These are the kind of egregious, out in the open accusations that Joe Biden makes against himself. It's almost as though the maxim of a criminal having to go back to the scene of a crime, and the criminal must go back again and again and again. It's kind of amazing if you study true crime, how many times this manifests itself. These criminals, they can't live with the crimes that they have engaged in. Their soul, something speaks out from them, and they can't live with themselves. And so they have to shout the evil they've done. They have to shout their abortion. They have to return to the scene of the crime. They have to stalk their next victims. They have to go confess or write letters or implicate themselves. This happens so often. It's why having an unsolved murder mystery is actually quite rare, because the people who live with that on their conscience, we're spiritual beings, you can't live like that. You have to eventually confess. And so Joe Biden going out in public and talking about his open corruption is like a public confession that is now backed up by the laptop. Another scandal will be the China scandal. China, reading again from the article, played a large part in the family enterprise, the crime enterprise of the Bidens, as demonstrated by, again and again, passing coverage in November 2021. The Times reported in brief that Hunter Biden's joint global equity firm, the Baha'i Harvest Equity Investment Fund, helped create and purchase a Chinese mining company of the world's largest cobalt source in Congo. It gave China control over a huge chunk of the world's known cobalt supplies, an ingredient necessary in making electric car batteries. Oh, interesting. This entire month, the Biden administration has been pushing for renewable energy vis-a-vis electric coal-powered cars. They're not electric cars, they're coal-powered cars, because the vast majority of power plants in this country are coal-fired power plants. So if you think that you're not burning any carbon inside of an electric vehicle, think again. So they're pushing for electric vehicles. They're going to be making, I think, 50% of the government fleet electric by the year 2050, that's their promise. Well, that's weird. It does seem as though the Biden family would immediately benefit from that and directly benefit from the mining of cobalt vis-a-vis the Communist Chinese Party. Man, so corrupt. It's dirty just reading this. You feel dirty just reading it. Hunter reportedly launched a new enterprise with the Chinese business partners less than 2 weeks after he traveled to China on Air Force Two with his vice president father. Hunter Biden used the swagger of publicly funded taxpayer private jets to get himself to China and then to mint business deals with the Chinese. It's real. It happened. This is the truth. And it's all backed up, of course, by documentation on his laptop. Ladies and gentlemen, that's illegal. You can't do that. You can't be flying around on Air Force Two and minting deals using the power and the force and the might of the American system of government in order to enrich yourself. You can't do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. The Hunter Biden laptop shows further corruption inside of Kazakhstan and Moscow and other nations. While Ukraine and China likely hold the most significant revelations, once those threads are pulled, investigators should move on to Moscow. According to a Senate report, that Hunter Biden received a combined $3.5 million from the wife of a former Moscow mayor, a Kazakhstani investor, and several other individuals. After all, there's no reason to think that a person willing to sell access to the vice president of the United States would close the money train after just a few countries. The question remains, specifically in this moment in time, why is Hunter Biden getting so much money from Russians? Seems a little strange, right? Odd that. Very, very bad to be doing business in Russia right now. If you're still doing business in Russia, you'll get a nasty headline written about you. Well, Hunter Biden got untold millions. For what? Nobody knows. Very strange, very odd. And sanctions were ongoing, by the way, from the Barack Obama administration. So was this classic money laundering? Were the Russian oligarchs paying Hunter Biden to invest this money or to keep this money safe and away from sanctions? Is this a sanctions workaround? I mean, then you're talking federal prison at that level. Let's move on. Ukraine's firing of the prosecutor investigating Burisma, we've already covered that. But Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Shokin was fired, according to statements Joe Biden made in a 2018 event. Biden threatened to withhold billion-dollar loan guarantees from the Ukrainian government if they refused to axe Shokin, who was investigating his son's business. Well, that seems like a quid pro quo. Biden-Obama administration ignoring conflicts of interest. Here, the testimony of the State Department official charged with issuing the related related to Ukraine. Let's start again. Here, the testimony of the State Department official charged with issues related to Ukraine again proves significant. There we go. George Kent, read much, Benny? Told lawmakers that after learning Hunter sat on the board of Burisma, he raised concerns with the vice president's office about the relationship. Here's the State Department saying, guys, what you're doing is straight up corrupt and could imperil our entire administration. I raised concerns that I had heard Hunter Biden was on the board of a company owned by somebody that the U.S. government had spent money trying to get tens of millions of dollars back, and it could create the perception of a conflict of interest, Kent said. The message that I recall hearing back was that the vice president's son was dying of cancer and that there was no further bandwidth to deal with family-related issues at the time. Oh, well, there we go. How convenient. The question that now President Biden then and anyone else in the office raised about conflicts of interest, why did the Biden family ignore them? Very important question. The intelligence community's briefing of Biden. After scandal reaching President Biden, concerns in his interactions with the intelligence community after the FBI and presumably the CIA and such other agencies learned of the 2019 Hunter Biden laptop, why did they use it as suspected blackmail? Among other material contained on the second laptop was a video of Biden recounting the circumstances that his first laptop disappeared with some Russians. Well, that's weird. Significantly, on that video, Hunter Biden said the laptop contained tons of material of him in susceptible blackmail positions. Well, that's bad. Hunter talked about this all the time. It's inconceivable that the FBI and the intelligence communities did not brief Biden on the discovery of the risk of blackmail, given the former FBI Director James Comey briefed Trump for the fake Steele dossier. So, fake dossier, they go to Trump Tower and brief Trump. This is a famous meeting, right? The James Comey briefing of President Trump on the Steele dossier, immediately laundered through the media, right? Immediately sent to the New York Times. But the real Hunter Biden laptop falls into the hands of the Russians, and our CIA and intelligence agencies do not think that that could be blackmail material for the sitting president? Again, Joe Biden lied to you, and he knew he was lying. On second thought, the initial question reporters should ask is, did the FBI brief you on the fact that Hunter Biden believed Russians had stolen a laptop with compromising information? Again, this is all on video. We're not going to play you the videos because they're extremely disturbing, and we have a family channel here, kind of, right? PG-13 channel. But Hunter Biden says it himself. Finally, the possible collusion to interfere in the 2020 election. An honest press should ask to investigate whether President Biden or anyone connected to the then presidential campaign pressured reporters, media outlets, and companies such as Twitter and Facebook to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. We know that Jen Psaki has connections at multiple social media companies. She ran a PR firm. She has a pressure campaign and often does use her power at the White House to push and censor information. She said that publicly. This was during COVID. 50 former intelligence officials who publicly declared the laptop resembled Russian disinformation campaign. What is happening here? Did Biden or his campaign coordinate with those individuals? We need to know the answer. Given that the polls show 17% of Biden voters would not have voted for him in 2020, that's enough to swing the election wildly in favor of Donald Trump. It's only about 4 million votes in between the two of them, right? Donald Trump clocks in at 75 million, right? Joe Biden clocks in a little over 80 million, right? So here we have the margin of error. This story, we can boil it down to this. It's why you can roundly and officially say rigging occurred in the sense that people could not see or view or even talk about a story that would have changed the direction of the election. If they had known about the Biden family scandals and the collective burying of the laptop scandal represented the most significant interference in an election ever seen in our country. So did Biden. The Biden campaign had anything to do with the decision to ban this story. What about the 50 former intelligence officials? Ultimately, Joe Biden is, in his own words, a lying dog-faced pony soldier who should face an inquisition, a congressional inquisition on these issues. As we have played for you time and time again, Joe Biden was a perpetrator of the Russia hoax. Joe Biden used that Russia hoax in order to label the authentic and real criminal evidence on his son's laptop as Russian disinformation. He lied to you, the American people. He lied in order to get himself elected to office. There is a cloud of extreme darkness over the White House, and it's not just that, ladies and gentlemen. The entire campaign, the people who were complicit in these crimes, Jake Sullivan, Jen Psaki, every single one of them needs to be dragged before Congress and asked about these fabrications and outright lies and election interference. We began our show 2 days ago with a clip of Bill Barr, the #1 law enforcement official in this country, stating, yes, this is election interference. Yes, you are not a conspiracy theorist. You are not a crazy person. I, the person who has been inside of federal law enforcement my entire career since being appointed by George H.W. Bush, say and declare that this is election interference. Bill Barr on national television saying Joe Biden knew. This laptop was authentic. And he went out, he was asked a direct question about it during the presidential debates. He looked into the camera and told the American people lie after lie after lie after lie. If your blood isn't boiling right now, ladies and gentlemen, man, you must be a reptile. Maybe you're a lizard person like Hillary Clinton. I don't know. But let me allow you a little bit of a glimmer of hope. It's a very dangerous thing to have hope in politics, but allow me to give you a shine on this story. Kevin McCarthy, in a bombshell revelation given to Breitbart News this morning, said that he has sent out dozens of preservation document notices across the government and across the Biden crime family, setting the stage for severe GOP investigations when they take back the House in the midterms. We want honesty. We want clarity. We, the American people, are in charge of this damn nation. All of you work for us, and we deserve answers. We are the power, and asserting that power means justice. They always call for justice. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what, you will not hear a demon scream like you're about to hear in 2022. When these numbers play out, when the polling that we have been talking about on this show that is looking like it could be the worst defeat for a single party in American history, you may be looking at the end of the Democratic Party forever. In 2022, we're talking 100 years and 100 seats. That's what Steve Bannon says often on his show. The numbers prove it. What will happen when you get a Republican Senate and a Republican majority in the House so strong? You can override vetoes. You can compel testimony. You can impeach members of the president's administration, and you can impeach the president. And it looks like Kevin McCarthy is about to do just that. Let's read the article. Here we go. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy told Breitbart News exclusively that House Republicans have sent dozens of preservation notices across the federal government and agencies to various departments that President Joe Biden's administration oversees, ordering them to preserve their documents in anticipation of eventual subpoenas from the House Republicans after the 2022 midterms. McCarthy said that he is tasking every single House committee. That is huge. With engaging in full oversight of the entire Biden regime. Rather than just running everything through the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, he's going committee by committee by committee. Come on. Mama, bring me home. Broadening the use of the levers of congressional authority to engage in a massive and unprecedented effort to rein in the Biden administration's waste, fraud, and abuse of power. Republicans are only 5 seats away from a majority, and Biden's approval rating is tanking. This morning, it is slogging near the low 30s, and that's inside of liberal suppression polls. These are the polls that are designed to give a boost to Democrat and the Democrat Party. So what is Joe Biden's real approval number? If you look at the Real Clear Politics average, now that's the average of 20 plus polls. So you can have outliers here or there. The average is in the mid 30s for Joe Biden's approval rating. And we are, count them, 7 months away. 7 months away from the election. We are right now, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. The election is in the first week of November. So the cake has been baked by September and October. I mean, once you get into the summer months, they're not even going to call Congress back. You're done. You're finished. And Joe Biden can't hit the trail to campaign. He has no credibility left. With the majority comes the gavel on committees and the ability to compel document production and witness testimony, as well as to call hearings and set agendas for Congress, something that Republicans have not had the ability to do since 2018. At the GOP retreat, in addition to finalizing the commitment to America, that's going to be the new, what did Newt Gingrich call it? The contract with America, right? That led to a massive sweep. 60 plus members of the House in a takeover in 94. So it's going to be the new contract with America, and Newt Gingrich, we hear behind the scenes, is involved in writing this one too. Good on you, Newt. McCarthy is sharpening his members' oversight skills by holding training sessions with House Republicans so they're ready to hit the ground running on day one, rather than letting Biden and his allies drag out document requests and subpoena cooperations for months when the GOP gets the gavel back. Here's what McCarthy says about it. What I'm doing here at this retreat, it's one of the biggest breakouts as a part of policy. We're going to have training and bring in some experts and walk them through examples of how they can look into how to do it, meaning oversight, and making everybody do that. We got James Comer and Jim Jordan. We got staff, and we got people outside coming in. We're showing them some things, and we're going to research how. We're starting now. You don't want to waste time because they'll run out the clock on you. McCarthy noted that Republicans across Congress have sent dozens of preservation notices to key agencies and departments, and we want to say right now on this live, impeach Mayorkas. Impeach Mayorkas. Do it on day one. Drag him in. Hold an impeachment for him. Get him out. Send a shockwave through the government. Drag him in and impeach him. This little goblin has destroyed this country and broken the law. He has defied and violated and desecrated the rule of law. And, by the way, if you go back into immigration law, it was Democrat Congresses who passed it all. So force the Democrats' nose in it. Let them say that breaking the laws that they pass is okay as long as their guy's doing it. Man, it's going to be amazing. Guys, it's going to be amazing. McCarthy said we have to hit the ground running immediately after the midterms. Good on you, Kevin McCarthy. There's a couple of things that I've looked at, and I'm bringing in experts to show them how it's done and to take this path correctly. How do you gather the information you use? How do you find the information out? There's people who have been doing this for a while who have never done it, so we're going to teach them. Boom. We've been talking a lot on this channel about the iron spine, the brass balls that you got to have to go up against evil inside your own country. You got to be able to fight. Republicans feel as though they can fight across the globe. So much fake toughness on Ukraine. So much bluster and saber rattling. So much puffing out your chest, right, to seem tough. But this is a party that has done virtually nothing. Nothing as it pertains to fighting battles here in this nation. And let me enumerate those battles for you, Republicans, especially those of you in the Senate, Mitt Romney. The border, the war zone of the border, the war zone in our own streets. Have you gone to Baltimore, Detroit? Have you ever been to the Tenderloin District in Nancy Pelosi's home district in San Francisco, Los Angeles? Have you seen the crime rates spiking in this nation? Have you cared about this nation? Have you looked at the cultural rot inside of our schools? Have you seen them indoctrinating our children? Have you been watching what's been happening across the nation, whether it be in inflation or gas prices or women's sport? The goal of the Marxists is to tear down all that came before it. They want the end of history. That's what Karl Marx talked about. The end of history. The goal is to eliminate the church. The goal is to eliminate the family. Black Lives Matter had on their website, one of their main objectives is to destroy the nuclear family. Are you listening, suburban women? Starbucks moms in minivans and Suburbans paying twice as much for gas right now? Are you listening? Hear me. The agenda is to rip your kids from your arms, to state that you have no right to what they learn in school, and if you protest, then we will call you a terrorist. We're going to steal your grandchildren from you. We're going to indoctrinate them against you, against your worldview, against the way that you wish to raise them. The goal is simple. Indoctrinate your children against your traditions and then usurp them unto government control. We're going to do it without your consent. That's what this Parents Protection Act in Florida is all about. It's why I will donate every last dollar and donate every last bit of blood, sweat, and tears for the re-election of Ron DeSantis. He is protecting my right to raise my children. That is solely my right. The job of the school is to teach them science and math and recess and politeness. Maybe a little bit of cursive. It is not to teach my children about their sexuality, and it is certainly not to indoctrinate my children without my consent or oversight over what they're teaching. Of course, obviously, naturally. What a wicked and perverse world this country has collapsed into, and we as Americans need to fight the wars on our shores, and the wars right now have seen nothing but capitulation by the Republican Party in this nation over the last 30-odd years. Capitulation and brokenness. And yes, I'm talking to many people here. They take ground an inch at a time. We don't push back. We don't push back. And they take over an inch at a time. And now we find a country that we must now fight for again. If we are to preserve any sense of Christendom, religious freedom, free expression, free assembly, free thought in this nation, we must battle for it. Luckily for us, ladies and gentlemen, I think that God's on our side. And listen, if you don't agree with me, go ahead and check out Joe Biden's opinion polling. Joe Biden's approval rating hits 34%. This also according to Breitbart. Quick coverage here. The Grinnell College poll showed that Joe Biden's approval rating is at 34%. Grinnell College is the most leftist college in America. I know Grinnell College. I've been to Grinnell College a couple times. Wow. If their suppression polls show this, it means that Joe Biden's approval rating is actually 24%. The poll found that 34% of adults in the United States approve of Biden's performance. The majority, 52%, disapprove. This is a gift. It's a gift. Because if you had a smooth operator or a very smart person out front, then you could probably get away with what they're trying to do right now. We've been given a gift in Joe Biden. Joe Biden is cancerous. He's toxic. He can't hit the road. He can't campaign. And now it's time to check his administration. We are going to be doing a special tonight on Ketanji Brown Jackson and the Supreme Court. We're going to wait for another day of hearings and bring you those updates today, but we love seeing what's happening. The most important thing is to expose these people because they like to live in the darkness, like cockroaches, like rats, or like any other type of venal creature. They wish to live in darkness. They don't want to be dragged out into the light. They don't want to show you who they are. They don't like that being exposed. They know that if the American public saw what they really were and what they're really trying to do to you and to your children, then we would cast them out. We would spit them out. We're about to do that in 2022, but it can't be stated enough, ladies and gentlemen, that Joe Biden's numbers right now are worse than Donald Trump's numbers ever were. You always heard about how, with the full force of corporate America and corporate media on Donald Trump's back and every fake scandal they could possibly come up with, that Donald Trump had low approval ratings. Okay. Well, I'm sitting here with a poll in front of me showing that Joe Biden's approval rating on the economy, 31%. Joe Biden's approval rating on the coronavirus, underwater. That was his highest mark. Underwater. Joe Biden's approval rating is slipping point after point after point. Even from October, he was at 37. Now he's at 34. They think that him trying to flex and be tough on the world stage is going to help him out? No. Americans don't want war. Biden received 36% approval rating and 53% disapproval in his numbers. Inflation skyrocketing to a 4-decade high. Gas prices increasing. Biden administration has tried to blame everything on Putin. It hasn't worked. Only 37% approve of how Biden dealt with the situation in Russia right now. Yikes. 14% who said they weren't sure. Well, those 14%, I guarantee you, if we keep talking about the Hunter Biden laptop, if we keep exposing the crimes of the Biden family, and if the Republican Party does their job and commits to oversight of the Biden crime family, then you will see the greatest rebirth of American freedom we've ever had in this country. Breathe that sweet air, ladies and gentlemen. Let it enter your brain an idea that could spark a beautiful revolution that could save this nation and save all of Western civilization. Oversight, the bringing of people to justice, the destruction of crime syndicates that exist inside our government, a true awakening of the American people that there are forces at play that operate inside of our federal government that hurt us and are trying to bring this nation down. There's a group of elites that believe America's days are over. They've been told that our nation is done for. So we better strip mine this place for all they're worth, and we better get rich off it before beating it to Canada or Switzerland to live inside of a commune with Klaus Schwab. Or communist China, which is actually their favorite place on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a group of people that are attempting to crash this place and destroy this place and get rich off it. This is what George Soros has done his entire career. He's gone nation to nation, tanking their economies, destroying them, grinding them between the millstone of high taxation and inflation. Those are the words of the one and only Karl Marx, actually. And he's collapsed economy after economy after economy like this. They're trying to do it here. In 2022, we begin the fight back. And if we truly make people awake as to what's happening to this nation, we will have a rebirth of freedom and greatness, and it will be awesome living here again. We'll preserve this, the greatest country on planet Earth, for our children, and we will have done God's work. We will have ripped out the corrupt, and we will have shamed them and brought them to justice. That's what we want on this channel. That's why we state very clearly our priorities here. 3, God, family, country. Those are our priorities. Upon those rocks, we build our revolution. We were born free men and women, and we intend to stay that way. My name is Benny Johnson. This has been The Benny Show. See ya!